Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to one of my replays. It's a tier 9 game and it's from 9.4, so as some people have noticed, my more recent videos don't have Gnomefathers on, but this one does, so that's why the gun sounds will sound a bit different than more recent replays. So this is reasonably good matchmaking. It's mines. We've spawned north, which is fairly crucial, and as this was a 9.4 game, it was before they made the minor tweaks and changes to mines, especially coming up to the southern approach to the hill, basically. But it doesn't seem to have made that much of a difference, if I'm really honest. It still seems like the north spawn has a distinct advantage. So this should be a reasonably easy game, right? Yes. This match also features, well, not only Circon, but Versi there, making a reasonably rare appearance in tanks. He does still come and play with us on the stream sometimes these days, but he seems to be a bit less into tanks these days, which is fair enough. He's got a real life. He does other things, not like the rest of us that just sit around and play tanks all day. Well, I can only really speak for myself there anyway. So, as expected, we got to the hill first. It's not really like that wasn't in doubt. It's slightly risky me trying to push up here as well on my big soft French tank, but I've made it without taking any damage, and I've even managed to damage somebody in return. So that's fine. We've taken the hill in force. This is all looking fairly comfortable so far. We've spotted a whole bunch of the enemy tanks as well. I mean, they don't really... Their mediums didn't really try, and maybe they knew this map enough to just not bother trying. And oh, can I get a shot on the waffle? Like gun depression though, and I hesitate slightly too long. So I might as well just reload the clip at this point. If you've got the time to sit back, if you're down to half a clip, then at that point it probably is a good point to just... I keep saying point over and over again. At that point it's a good point to reload your clip. Point. So it looks like it's going alright so far. They've lost a scout that did try and go up, and a bulldog. I'm not sure where the bulldog died actually. Their other scout, the Lorraine, they didn't even bother. The E50, the T69 did try for the hill, but they didn't really get very far. Object 430, as we can see, went round the other side. We do have a few tanks around that side of the hill. The E75 and the Eggpanzer E100. So that's enough to stop them just pushing round and trapping us on the hill. Although, even so, if we still had the high ground, that would still give us something of an advantage. Not me personally, though, because this tank, the 5120, it has horrible gun depression. Oh, hello. A sneaky shot off with the waffle, and I resisted successfully the urge to sit there and just try and clip him, because those shots in return would be rather nasty. However, that T49 seems to be quite content just to sit back there and snipe. He doesn't actually... He's not really trying to do scouty things. He's basically playing this more as a damage dealer. And that's not a terrible way to play T49 depending on the map. It really does depend on the map, and it depends on what your team's doing. And in this case, I kind of can't blame him, because where is he really going to go in a scout if he can't get to the hill and use the hill? There's not that many options, to be honest. Anyway, yes, that is a turret that's sort of stuck into that rock. I don't even know what tank that was, but our medium Object 140 it'll be. Unfortunately, it got ammo racked, but it is kind of funny, though, seeing his turret just sticking out the rock like that. So, it's all a bit static so far. We're waiting for them to make a push, or for them to decide to try and push the other side, or we're waiting for them to do something. However, this is a most unwelcome sight, an E3 that comes up, and this is a problem for me because I don't really have enough gun depression to try and track him. I have to be really quite far forward if I want to try and track him, at which point I am definitely going to get hit. However, he decides to do this instead, and I don't know why. I think maybe he thought he was going to go for the E50M, but that was a really silly move, and he paid for it with his tank. So I'm back on the reload again. There's a little more action happening on the east flank of the hill. We've got a WZ 111-14 around there, and it looks like they're trying to push a little bit. We can see our Lorraine's peeking a bit, but I mean, we're suffering some attrition losses right now. The waffle's actually gone along the 3 line, and we've only got one tank. We had one tank that was up in A4, but isn't anymore. He actually came down off that position. And it looks like he's actually going to actively try and go for the waffle. And there we go, a nice little sneaky shot into the E75 commander's hatch there. And can I get E50 as well? No. Okay, maybe not. I kind of, I don't know, I rushed the shot. I thought he was going to pop forward. Maybe I'd get his front axle or something. In the meantime, yeah, that T-49's still there. He's firing just HE though, and against my turret, well, it's going to do a bit of damage. He's turned a couple of modules yellow, including my gun, which is annoying. I'm going to have to repair that. But he's unlikely, when shooting at my front armour, to actually do any significant damage. Now, if he got my rear armour, that would be considerably worse. But even so, getting hit by HE, even if it's only doing a little bit of damage, if he knocks out my gun again, or knocks out my ammo rack, or that could really be really bad indeed. Now, our Waffle Panzer IV dies to the Waffle E100, but the Waffle E100 then very quickly dies to Zircon, who is in fairly low health at this point. And it really has been a war of attrition. I mean, considering that we had the hill, that we had the numbers, the enemy team have actually done a really good job of whittling us down. And I'm kind of hard-pressed to say, not having an overview of the entire battle, I'm hard-pressed to say if it was them outplaying us or if it was just our team misplaying. It's hard to tell sometimes, because there is a difference between your team giving it away and the enemy team just being better. There is a definite difference, and it was a bit close to call. So at this point, I mean, time's ticking away. We're just steadily losing health, and we've lost most of our tier 10s. We have the Jagdpanzer E100 left, and oh, hello, T69. So I decided to make a move. Unfortunately, that T69 has alerted them exactly what we're doing. Zircon came down as well. I actually wasn't expecting Zircon to come with me, but he's probably as good down here as he is on the hill, just because, oh, there's that T49. He's very low health, so he's very low health after that T49 shot him, but he was unlikely to be able to stop an assault on the hill. Now, unfortunately, Versi is now alone on the hill. Now, it might have actually been a tactical misplay to come down. It might have been better to sit up there, use our high ground advantage, because we could have, in theory, defended the cap from there. But as it was, that Lorraine, for some reason, pushed down and around the 4 line and exposed himself to all kinds of fire. And now Versi's left alone in a Leo PTA, and the PTA really doesn't have any armour. The only tank that's left that has any armour at all is the E75, and he's managed to push down to where is it, G6, but he's now pinned down by a T30. So he's out of the engagement, but that also means the T30 is effectively out of the engagement as well. So Zircon pushes down the 1 line. He's trying to get an angle on the hill, so Versi's spotting these people, and Zircon can, in theory, just shoot up at them. And I'm just hoping to get shots as well. Unfortunately, surprise T-54E1, yeah, he basically camped there for most of the battle. And at that one crucial moment, yeah, he popped out, shot Versi. The T-30, he probably spotted Zircon, so the T-30 was able to take a shot at Zircon. However, that exposed the T-30, and I can get shots on him. Now, he's fairly slow, so I can... I say fairly slow, he's not the slowest, but he's not the fastest, so I'm reasonably confident that that full clip went in, that it all hit him. It might not have all done damage, one might have pinged off the turret or something, but this is now a really bad position. If the E75 can hang on, maybe I can get back to the hill, maybe I can take out that E50, and at that point, again, we've got the high ground. And the fact that I've got a clip is useful, but they also have a T-54E1 that's still alive. And actually, in this situation, the T-54E1 is better because it can unload its clip faster. So if it comes down to it, if I meet that T-54E1, I'm probably toast. We can see from the markers there, yeah, I did hit that T-30. He's very low health. And there's the T-54E1 finally moving. Oh well, okay, I know a T50 and E50 is on the hill definitely, so I'm going to try and get up there, get that E50. I'm pretty sure I wasn't spotted by the 54E1 because my sixth sense did not go off, but surprise E50, no, well, okay, there goes the element of surprise, and at this point, I kind of have to go up because there's a T54E1 that's going to come up behind me, the T54 on the hill, T54, what? Where did I get that from? The E50 on the hill. is able to pop out, shoot me by the time I've come up, and I'm able to get my gun on target. He can shoot me again, and this is not looking good, is it, at all? So I go for the reload. The fact that I'm on such low health now, the fact that I lost that nearly 800 health to the E50, that really hurt. I mean, I don't think that was a bad play from me, but it was incredibly bad luck that I then ran into that other E50 coming up. And yeah, I killed him without taking any damage, but that totally ruined the element of surprise, and that other E50 was able to shave off a significant amount of health. Now, it might not have made a difference. The damage potential of the T-54 E1 clip is quite high. It does, I think, what, 300 average damage per shot? And it can get that clip off way faster than I can. So, it, you know, the best case scenario, it would have been a really close run thing. And let's not forget there's a T-30 still in the game as well. Although he's a one-shot, so hopefully he'd be a bit more cautious. But as it is, I don't think there's a very good chance of me pulling this back at this point, because he can take me in 2 shots, and in the time it gets him to take, you know, he can get those 2 shots off in the time I can only get 1 shot off. So if he gets me, then it's GG. If I get a chance to get him on the hop, I can maybe get a shot or 2 in. You know, if I get him with his turret facing the other way, I can maybe even the odds a bit. But we'll see. Now, Circon actually suggested A4. Go to A4. You can defend the cap from that point. If you try and go back to the hill, it probably won't go well. And it was as good a thing to try as any, but unfortunately, oh dear, yes, no, they were on the hill. So that was that. A bit of a disappointing result, but hey, you can't win them all. So we'll actually look at the score screens. Now, I had 4,000 damage on the clock, but because I did some blind damage against that T-30, it was actually over 5,000 damage. 5,182 damage, a tiny amount of assistance damage, rather insignificant. Most of my shells hit something, not all of them penned, but let's see, 19 out of 22, so better than 80% hit rate. That was an ace mastery, high caliber, and a tank sniper. Looking at the team, I mean, some people managed to die without doing very much, and there were some important tanks among that batch, including the Bat Chat, who died doing 0 damage. The WZ-111-14 did 0 damage. The Waffle Panzer IV did 92 damage. Yeah, I mean, the Object 140 is down there on the team list as well, but he got ammo racked. That was just bad luck. Lorraine 40T, 157 damage. So we had some very high tier tanks that weren't doing the damage, and that's why it came down to such a close fight. And in the end, just the tank that I was in versus the tanks that the enemy team had left, it was a very, very tall order. I think even a better player than I in those circumstances would have been hard pressed to actually turn that around into a victory, especially once that play against the E50 on the hill turned out to be the wrong thing to do. And it's just one of those things where it was pure chance that the enemy E50, that enemy E50 was driving up at that exact moment. I had no idea he was going to, you know, I knew where he last was spotted, but the fact that he should be driving up the hill at that exact moment was just sheer bad luck. So yes, well played to the enemy team. They actually had, considering some of the low damage results of some of our teammates, you know, they still had a bit of a fight to make that a win, and that just shows the disadvantage that you have to overcome to make a win from the south spawn of mines. And the fact, I mean, Wargaming never out and out said, well, there's a problem with the south spawn on mines, but the fact that they then went and tried to tweak the map a bit kind of gives away the fact that yes, the numbers Wargaming had must have showed there would have that there was an imbalance between the win rate between the north and south spawns, because it's not like Wargaming would just go and change the map because a few people complained about it. They actually would have had to have hard numbers that said there was a problem. So there was a problem, and I think there's still a problem, but it's maybe a slightly reduced problem. I expect they've gone back to looking at their numbers at this point. So, yes, this is the last of the videos that I've done to cover the gap while I'm away. I will possibly... It'll probably be a couple of days before you see another one. I'm visiting family down south, so that should be fun. Yeah, hopefully you haven't missed me too much in the intervening time. Hopefully the couple of videos I did do tidied you over nicely. And if you liked this one, you can hit the like button. You can leave any comments below. You can subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay tuned for more.